Okay, so we're going to be talking about the coffee industry. So some topics we're going to touch on today is what is coffee? What are some of coffee's benefits? What is the coffee industry? What does the coffee market look like? And what are some coffee trends? So, coffee. What is coffee? Coffee is a beverage brewed from the roasted and ground seeds of the tropical evergreen coffee plant. Coffee is one of the three most popular beverages in the world, alongside water and tea, and it is one of the most profitable international commodities. All right, so what are some of coffee's health benefits? Well, one reason most of us drink coffee is the caffeine in coffee increases your dopamine levels, making you feel happier and less drowsy. Um, some less known coffee benefits or health benefits is coffee includes many different substances that may prevent serious health conditions, including Alzheimer's disease, stroke, and heart disease. Based from Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, coffee contains many antioxidants and other active substances that may reduce internal inflammation and protect against disease. All right, so these are basically like the four main points of the coffee industry. Coffee shops, all of us have been to one. Coffee equipment, I'm sure you probably have a coffee machine or go to a coffee shop that has coffee machines. Coffee products, that would be bagged coffee and things of those sorts. Coffee production would be the growth of trees and the harvesting of the berries and fermentation of the beans. So the world coffee business, we're gonna touch on some numbers here. The global coffee market was valued at 334.24 billion in 2020, and it's expected to reach 537.05 billion by 2025. The coffee machine market was valued at 5.11 billion in 2020 and is expected to reach 6.36 billion by 2026. So for the global market for coffee shops, that was valued at 156.9 billion in the year 2020, and it's projected to reach 201.4 billion by 2027. Um, if you actually take a look here at the top numbers, 334 and 537, there's quite a bit of growth there. But when you actually look at the coffee shop valuation and expected projected growth, it's actually quite a bit less. Um, and from my research, they actually believe that has to do with the way that people are consuming coffee. People are moving towards consuming coffee more at home and actually less at a coffee house or a cafe. So, some trends in the coffee industry. Ready to drink coffee. This would be Starbucks, um, canned coffee essentially that you could purchase at a convenience store or Dunkin' Donuts coffee you could purchase at a convenience store. But according to Hivos, ready to drink coffee is one of the fastest growing market segments in Europe, with the European Center for the Promotion of Imports, CBI, showing signs that the trend had continued into 2020. And this does also cover worldwide as well from the research I had done. So specialty coffee, according to the CBI, while most consumers still buy mainstream coffee blends, there is rising demand and a willingness to pay for high quality coffee, aligning with reports on socially conscious consumers looking for an authentic experience. CBI also noted that consumers will pay for coffee with a good story related to its environmental and social aspects. Single cup coffee brewing equipment. Um, Home brewing is changing and consumers are choosing new equipment in response. In the US, consumers are 24% less likely to choose traditional drip coffee machines than they were in 2015. That's from the NCA USA findings. Correspondingly, single cup brewers have risen 50% in the same period. This one's actually my favorite here. Agritourism and the coffee industry. This type of coffee tourism can be seen as similar to the wine industry, where vineyard visits and tours are commonplace, especially if you've ever been to California, but there's other places across the world. Um, this links once again with the idea that consumers want an authentic experience, which goes along with people willing to pay more for specialty coffees as well. This, has people willing to seek out these coffee growers and related businesses for tours, tastings, and learning experiences related to coffee. Coffee subscriptions. This is one that's really come up recently here. One growing industry is the coffee subscription model, where suppliers send consumers coffee straight to their door. While this concept has been around for a few years, COVID-19 lockdowns have brought it to the forefront as consumers look to get their coffee fixed despite being stuck at home. And even after COVID is fully over, I assume this will continue on as well due to convenience. So, for coffee shops, it's actually difficult to estimate the number of coffee shops worldwide due to the fact that there are only several countries which act with actual statistics stating the number of shops in their country. In order to estimate the number of coffee shops worldwide, I took the number of coffee cups consumed each day, which is about 2.2 billion, and estimated that one out of every 40 cups are consumed at a coffee house. And this is from a statistic provided within the United States. So, based on my calculations, 55 million cups of coffee are purchased each day worldwide at a coffee shop. The average coffee shop produces 250 cups of coffee each day. So, if you divide 55 million cups of coffee by 250, you get 220,000, which would be my estimate for the total number of coffee shops worldwide. So somewhere around 220,000 is my estimate. Um, so for coffee production, it takes around 100 beans to make 1 cup of coffee. And it takes 5 years for a coffee tree to mature enough to produce its first crop. This is actually there's a lot of variables involved, including elevation. So some people grow their coffee trees within valleys, and some of them grow them on the tops of mountains. So oxygen is a big factor in that. But between 2019 and 2020, around 163.7 million 60-kilogram bags of coffee were produced worldwide. Quite a staggering number there, actually. And the majority of coffee produced comes from South America, with Brazil being the top supplier. And following Brazil, Vietnam is the second leading producer. All right, so for coffee consumption, some of these actually are general for the United States. Like I said previous, there's not too many statistics worldwide. But in terms of these ones, the yearly spending on coffee by gender in the United States. So an average coffee drinking American women will spend 2,327 yearly on coffee. And an average coffee drinking American man spends 1,934 yearly on coffee. Not too much of a spread there, but significant enough for it to be interesting, of course. Daily coffee consumption by age in the United States. 72% of people over the age of 60 drink coffee each day, compared to 47% in the age groups 18 to 24. Um, so I'm not going to touch too much on this one, but I'm just going to talk about the first four there. Which professions drink the most coffee? I found this quite interesting. Scientists and lab technicians come at number one. Marketing/PR professionals come in at number two. And educational administrators come in at number three. And editors and writers come in at number four. It'd be interesting to do research later on to see if there's a correlation between stress and hours worked, along with coffee consumption. So, for coffee consumption worldwide in millions, we kind of already touched on this, but there's about 165 to 167 million 60-kilogram bags of coffee consumed each year. Now, what I found interesting about this number is when you actually compare it to consumption and production. Um, there has been several years from the research that I've done where there has actually been higher consumption than there was production within that year. So quite interesting there. Um, so for coffee equipment, in 2019, global coffee machines were predicted to reach 58 million units, growing at over 4% from the previous year. The coffee machine market was valued at around 5.11 billion in 2020, and it's expected to reach 6.36 billion, um, uh, registering at a compound annual growth rate of more than 4.5% during the forecast period 2021 and 2026. So actually from my research, I have come to believe that in the next few years, we will see a significant uptrend in encapsulated coffee machines and fully automated coffee machines, and less focus on old-fashioned drip machines or espresso machines. Coffee shops will likely follow a similar suit with recent interest and more automated coffee machines or coffee shops. These two things alone will likely push the market for coffee equipment to grow at a faster rate than currently predicted. Some interesting things here actually is some companies coming out, one called Spin specifically, where it actually comes with a coffee subscription. They give you credits when you purchase the machine. Obviously, you can continue that after the credits are out. And all you have to do really is pour in the coffee beans to the top, which is like a hopper basically. It grinds up the coffee for you automatically. And then it also has a milk frother. All you have to do is pour in the milk and then you hook it up to the machine. And you can put that back in the fridge once you're finished with it so you can use it later. But it's fully automated, so you don't really have to do anything. And it's the same with some of these encapsulated machines that have really been picking up in the past few years here. There's actually an interesting coffee shop right now called Cafe X that's in progress. It's actually a fully automated coffee vendor type machine that we'll probably expect to see in malls sometime in the next few years. But it'd be interesting to see that technology spread to actual coffee shops as well. So the top 10 key players in their field. Um, so for coffee brands in the world by revenue, you have Nescafe at 63.4%, coming in with a revenue of 99.71 billion. You have Starbucks at 16.9% of the market, coming in at 26.5%, or 26.5 billion USD, and then McCafe at 13.4%, coming in at 21.07 billion USD. And from my understanding here, actually, there's a lot more involved in this. This is just the top 10, but these three brands, Nescafe, Starbucks, and McCafe, they actually make up somewhere around 50% of the total market for coffee brands in terms of revenue. So, unit and the coffee industry. For unit, I actually feel like it has a lot of benefits, especially when it comes to the coffee industry. The coffee industry in general, including like coffee shops and locally grown coffee beans, they're very community driven. So your coffee shop, of course, would not be around, just like many businesses, if the community did not support it. But that coffee shop is also supported by local businesses. So I feel that unit can get involved in the coffee industry by allowing people to invest essentially or purchase tokens in the coffee industry or support coffee shops that are wanting to open up around the corner. And in turn, they'll actually allow them to be more involved with the community, which is a big part of the coffee industry. So we've pretty much touched on everything there. Um, this is some basic stuff for unit, and then of course all my sources. So You guys have any questions?